Hello, welcome to Slick Willy Fly. And today what we're going to do is a real true Slick Willy Zonker streamer. This is literally two materials, three if we count the Bead chain, and couldn't be simpler, and just a great little Zonker. So the rabbit Zonker, when tied in this way, will ride hook side down. I have the bead chain set on the bottom just so it will keel a little bit better. And it's going to look like maybe a leech, maybe a bait fish. I don't know. I just know that it gets a lot of bites. It's going to be tied on a size 4 freshwater streamer hook. I'm going to be using this in Sweden. I'm going to be using for the body a little bit of polar chenille in hot orange. And the Zonker strip that I'm using today is called Black Barred Groovy Bunny Orange and White. It's a pretty cool looking Zonker strip. You can tie this fly in a million different colors and sizes and everything else. I think that this is a really good size for the fish that I'm targeting. So let's change the camera angle, have a sip of our cocktails, and let's tie a fly. And while I'm changing that camera angle, it's a good time to hit that like and subscribe. So, okay, let's just pop in a size 4 streamer hook. This is a Mustad hook. I don't remember the exact numbers, but it's a size 4 streamer. It's a little bit of a longer shank. I'll have to get the exact model into the description below. And it's a little bit of a heavier wire. You know, they make these hooks in a lot of different types of level of, I guess they call it like 2x or 3x strength. And this is a 3x. And I want the heavier wire. The Zonker has a habit. So the Zonker will sink, but it really takes a little bit for the Zonker to sink. So how am I going to attach the Zonker? Zonker is the first piece of the puzzle here. Well, I took this piece and I actually took a marker, just a simple black Sharpie, and colored the bottom of the Zonker so that it'll look a little bit more finished. If you look at this one that I had earlier, that's the way the skin looks by, out of the package. So you just have to decide what length you want your tail. And I tend to make them a bit long. I can always trim them. And then once I've established my length, I really want to make sure that I just get all the fur separated. So I have nothing but skin, just like that. And now I'm going to try my best to get nothing but skin. For thread, I'm using 140 denier. And I could have used any color thread. In fact, I'll probably change thread and make orange, or I could just take a marker and turn it orange. It's the big reason I use so much white thread. It's because it's easy to just mark it up any color I want. Just gonna put a couple of half hitches in, then I'm gonna cut this off. And I am going to start some orange thread. So you saw what I did with the Zonker. All I did was attach it without catching any fur. And now I've folded it back, put a couple of wraps right in front of the Zonker, just keeping it there. And now it's time for the chenille, the polar chenille. So I have a piece of polar chenille, and I'm not sure if it's going to be long enough or not, but we're going to use it. It's a leftover piece from a previous fly, and if it's not, I just tie on a little more. It's no big deal. Okay, so now my chenille's on. So now I want to tie on my bead chain, which I had pre-prepped. Now, I want this fly to swim hook down. So it's important that when I attach this bead chain, that I attach it on the same side as the hook. And really all this is going to do, it's probably not even necessary to have the bead chain, but it will help this fly keel and ride hook down the way I intend it to. So I'm just going to put a bunch of wraps in each direction, and once I'm happy with that it's starting to get nice and tight, then I do my figure eights where I go under the bead chain, over the hook, under the bead chain, over the hook, and that just really just locks everything in. So now I can take my chenille, and like all my chenille that I ever use, or anything that I ever dub with, I'm going to make sure that I stroke everything back as I carefully do turns. You don't have to use the rotary function. It just makes it a little bit easier. And all I'm trying to do is create a nice body. So the thickness of this, that's really up to the individual. I don't think we need a ton. I think that these fibers are giving me both a little bit of flash, and they're also going to give me some cool action in the water. Sometimes when I'm stroking these fibers back, I just feel like it's easier if I hold the fibers as I'm wrapping simultaneously. That really makes the fibers go in the direction that I want them to go. And by taking a little bit of time right now to stroke everything back, it really helps the fly just look so much better at the end. That piece was plenty long. I give one or two more wraps. You know, this is a fly that I could easily tie in a saltwater variant and will just crush fish. I just happen to be in the mood to tie this for my rainbow and brown trout fishing in Sweden. It's a fly that we use and didn't really ever have a name. It's just I don't know, a Zonker Streamer. I don't really have a better name for it. But now I'm up to the bead chain and I've captured that nicely, just like that. So now I want to make sure that I take that chenille and I'm going to try and separate it as best as I can, because I'm going to take that remaining zonker and again, I really don't want to trap a lot of fibers. So right where I'm going to attach, right at the bead chain, I'm going to go ahead and separate the fur, exposing the skin. I'm going to give this a wrap or two right there. And I'm going to do the same thing in front. Now when I do this now, I really don't mind trapping a little bit of fur this time. Want it to go a little bit more, have a little thicker fur right at the bead chain. Perfect. And now I'm just going to secure this nice and hard. trim off that little bit of tag. Just like that. Making sure that everything came out nice and straight, just the way I want it. This is a classic Slick Willy fly. We literally had two materials, and this fly will definitely get bites. An absolute beginner tie. And what's nice about all these packages, which I say a million times in all my other videos, is that, yeah, I mean, the little bag of Polar Chenille, I don't know, I'll probably get at least 30 or 40 flies, maybe more out of this bag. And the same thing with the Zonker strip. So this is, you know, these are great. It's not like you're just gonna get one fly out of them. All right, so it's whip finish. And then I'm going to use a little bit of UV resin. Not necessary, but I just think they make the flies bulletproof. And I have UV resin, so why not use it? And if I wasn't going to do the UV resin, I'd probably put a second whip finish in. But it's not necessary with the resin. Okay. So just make sure everything is stroked back the way I like it. Everything looks good. Get a little tiny bit of UV resin. You really don't need much here. Right between the eyes. A little on the knot. Just like that. And now I'm just going to give this some spins. Whoops. Just to make sure that everything just evens out. It looks great. I'm going to get my lamp. And I'm just going to zap it. I'm sure that that's enough to set the fly. You know, the Zonker comes in that bag all twisted up. An easy little trick, you just run it in some warm water, let it sit in some warm water, and then you set it exactly the way you want it. You hang it exactly the way you want it. I like to hang them. And then they dry just perfectly. And I'll give you another tip. If you thought that the fly was too long, this fly is actually a hair, they're pretty similar in size actually. But if you thought this fly was too long, you wouldn't just come in here. If you just came in with a pair of scissors and you just you'd cut your whole tail off. What you have to do is you have to just fold everything back out of the way and try your best to just trim the skin. You expose exactly like you had done earlier, just like that, and you just, in fact, I'll trim a tiny bit off, so you see what I mean. So I'm just going to expose just the skin, and then I'm going to trim just that little end off, and what that leaves me with is a nice looking, natural looking tail, just like that. Nice. Hey, welcome back. So there it is. I mean, it's just a Zonker streamer. It's really nothing. It's just a cool little fly. You could tie this in a million different colors and variations. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe. Don't forget Slick Willy is on Instagram. Having a blast. Hope you're having a cocktail with me. Good luck catching. See you on the next video.